Recording in progress.
Morning, Chairperson.
Morning, Mr. Matonsi.
Yes, Chairperson, it's 9:30. We have got six members in the meeting, so there's a quorum. And then we have got the department, we have got the IEC, and also we've got the state law advisor, and also the parliamentary legal advisor, Chairperson. You can start with the meeting.
Thanks
Over
very
to you.
much. Thanks very much, Mr. Matonsi. And welcome, honorable members. Chairperson of the IEC, Namieto, and your commissioners and the executive, the Department of Home Affairs, Deputy Minister, DG, and all the legal team, Chief State Law Advisors, the Parliamentary Legal Services. Greetings and all are welcome. Today we're going to receive and update on the B bill for consideration by the House. In other words, the Portfolio Committee meeting will also receive the report that we must consider to adopt in relation to this. The portfolio committee has already dealt with all the amendments and agreed to. The drafting has already been deliberated by the committee and agreed to. And other issues that arise when we're dealing with the A list were clarified and agreed to, and authorize the Chief State Law Advisor to develop the B bill. There's a matter that arises directed to the chair, which I've since requested advocate or the Minister of Home Affairs through his legal team to clarify on two issues, which are already being clarified in our deliberations and also in the B bill. It's the interpretation of issues that will arise by Honorable Rose. And I must thank Honorable Rose for having raised the purpose of clarity. I will invite, before Chief State Law Advisor, the legal team just to clarify those matters, then we'll move to item number 3. But for now, I'll request Mr. Matonsi to deal with item number 2, apologies, and invite other stakeholders to record their attendance. Then we'll move to item number 3. Then we'll move to consideration of the report, item number 4, and we'll close the meeting. And I'm fully aware that there are other members who are assigned to contribute in the mini plenaries, which have started already. But also we've been authorized to proceed with the portfolio committee meeting so that we conclude this business of electoral matters amendment bill. Mr. Matonzi, item number 2.
Yes, Chairperson, from my side, I've got an apology from Ms. van der Merwe. She said she's attending another meeting. And then also there's an apology from the Deputy Minister. That's all from my side, Chair.
Thanks very much. I check with the first.
Sure.
DG? Is it DG, Mr. Matonzi?
No, the DG is not in. I think we have here Advocate Kumalo and then Advocate Malakate, Riaz, and Muzi. That I can see at the moment.
Okay. No, there was somebody who was trying to.
Yeah, Honorable Tijana, you okay?
Honorable Tijana?
Yes. Good morning, Chair. I want to register an apology. I'm going to be in for an hour and go out for about 45 minutes after 10:30. Then I'll come back again.
Noted, Honorable Tijana.
Chair. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Khwasa.
Just informing you that I'll be in the meeting for the rest of the duration of the meeting, but from 10 o'clock to 12, I'll be load shedded. I might be having connectivity problems.
Noted. Any other member before I go invite the stakeholders? Okay, thank you. Department of Home Affairs, in apology.
Thank you, Chair. I think the other apology is from the Minister. I don't think he will be able to join this particular meeting. He has got another commitment.
Thank you, Honorable Advocate Kumalo. Commissioner Mebza, Isi.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, honorable members and guests, counterparts, colleagues. We are here, Chair. We are well represented. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief State Law Advisors. Parliamentary Legal Services.
Good morning, Chairperson.
Morning.
The State Law Advisors are represented by Sarah Govender, Theo Hercules, and myself, Aisha Johar. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Parliamentary Legal Services.
Good morning, Chairperson. CLSO is represented by myself, Tilana.
Thank you, Tilana. All apologies, members, have been noted and recorded. We'll now invite Advocate Kumalo, as I've raised the matter, to brief the committee Then we'll proceed to the third item.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good morning to you and honorable members and colleagues. Chair, I will try and summarize the issues because there are three really main issues that were raised by the honorable member Rose. The first one is that when one looks at the clause that amends Section 24, it is clear that the president would now make the regulations after the resolution of the National Assembly. But then the issue that he raises is that when you then go to clause 26B, you mustn't say now when making this regulation, the president must take into account the following. You must now say when making the regulations, the National Assembly must take into account the following. So we thought that that is easy to clarify, that it is still the president as the head of the executive that makes regulations. All that has actually has happened in the committee is that the proposed condition, which was to make those regulations after consultation with the portfolio committee and the relevant minister, that was rejected by this committee, and this committee said, let's revert back to the original condition, meaning that the president will make these regulations after a resolution of the National Assembly. So the clause is still correct when it says when making the regulations, the president must take into account the following, because it is still the president that is making the regulations. The two remaining issues that were raised, Chair, is in relation to the clause now is 28B, sorry, 28G, where we are amending the regulation 7 of the regulations that appear in Schedule 2. The honorable member was saying that now that we have removed the limit by this proposed clause, which was the limit was honorable members will remember it is still in the old regulations or the current regulations is 15 million. Now that is no longer there, then it means that then there will be no limits. Now political parties can receive donations in excess, so there will be nothing really now regulating that particular space. And we think that that is also easy to explain, that the new clause that was adopted by this committee, which then is the amendment of Regulation 7, it still has got the safeguards and the limits. All that it says is that there will be a National Assembly resolution that will then happen, and then after that the president will then determine the amounts that are referred to Section 8.2, meaning that there will still be limits. It is just that the manner in which they will be determined is that the National Assembly will pass a resolution, then the president, based on that, will determine that amount. So there will still be limits. The same thing then is raised regarding the amendment of Regulation 9, which was the disclosure limit. Again, there will still be a disclosure limit. All that it means in the new clause is that the new Regulation 9, there will be a resolution passed by the National Assembly. Then the president, following that, will then determine the disclosure threshold that is referred to in Section 9(1)(a). And there was another issue, Chair. So I think those are the three issues that were raised by the honorable member. But there was another issue that I had discussed with Telane, which was whether or not there will be a vacuum when we go to passing this particular piece of legislation, looking at these limits. And my explanation was that timing issue, this committee can discuss and Parliament can discuss, because then you can then have a situation where you make sure that when this legislation is passed, then that maybe the following day you then determine there's limits. Parliament can pass that regulation, that resolution, and the president can then make this regulation and determine the limits that it is possible to then deal with the timing issue. Chair, I think I should stop there. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Advocate Kumalo. Members, when we deal with the clause related on this matter, if members will want to still interact on the issues that are rising, we will be given opportunity to deal with that so that we don't confuse the process which we've established as the committee since we've been dealing with the A-list. So you can note the issues, and when the matter arises in the clause, we're going to deal with. If members still have to raise other issues, we'll then invite members to consider that. Thanks very much for that response. And we'll now invite the State Law Advisor to proceed with the bill.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's Sarah Govender from the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor. Apologies for the delay. We had some connection issues with regard to the link.
Oh, yeah. Before that, I think we could have explained to members and apologize. You're right, Ms. Govender, that we're supposed to have received the meeting could have convened on Wednesday, if I recollect well. We have to shift the meeting because you are still dealing with certain issues. I'm not sure whether it's the same meeting. But also apologize for starting late at 9:30. We're still dealing with the other issues with the minister, which are related to Home Affairs and not subject to this matter we're dealing with. Thank you very much. You can proceed, Ms. Govender.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, yesterday there were a version of the A-list and the B bill that was circulated to the honourable members. Chairperson, these were the 5th proofs that we had received from the printers. However, we did receive it towards the latter part of yesterday, and whilst we did come across certain typographical errors that we'd like to rectify, it was a short notice for us to have rectified it yesterday afternoon after having received it, and for that amended version with just those minor typographical errors being rectified to be circulated. So, Chairperson, we are just stating that there are some minor typographical errors in this version that is being flighted at the moment by Mr. Mthunzi in both the A-list and the B bill, but we do undertake to rectify these minor typographical errors. Chairperson, with that being said, the current A-list that we have now reflects all the decisions that have been made by the committee, including the decisions that were made by the committee at the last parliamentary committee meeting, more specifically with regard to the amendments that needed to be reflected in clause 18 of the A-list. And this was with regards to the separate accounts. Eddie, if you could just go to clause 18 for me, please. So those changes have been effected, and I will go through it when I go through the B list, but it is indeed in the A list. The second clause that needed to reflect changes as per the instructions of the committee was clause 24. And this was in respect of the offences for accepting donations or certain donations and appropriating certain donations for oneself. Those were effected in the A list and have been carried through in the B bill, which I will be discussing in a little while. And the third change that was required to be amended in the A list to reflect the decision of the committee was clause 29. And this was to include reference to the National Assembly resolution. And this has been done, and I will highlight that when I go to the B bill. Chairperson, apart from those 3 changes which arose at the previous meeting, the only other changes that the committee will note are in the A list at the moment is with respect to 2 matters. The first matter if I can ask Eddie to go through again to clause 18. Chairperson, during the proof stage, the IEC brought to our attention that there appeared to be an omission from the bill, and this was with regard to the accounting practices that were required by the participants. Chairperson, that is appearing on as item number 7, which I will go through when I go through the B bill. However, Chairperson, from the legal standpoint, Parliamentary Legal Services as well as the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor have heard the IEC in respect of this amendment, and we do agree that it is necessary in order to create parity between the independent candidates and unrepresented political parties in respect of the accounting requirements. So from a drafting perspective, Chairperson, this paragraph is indeed in order. However, Chairperson, through you, should the committee require clarity on the need to include this amendment in the A list, Chairperson, if that can be directed to the IEC to explain the need for that inclusion.
Ms. Govender?
Yes, Chairperson.
Oh, you are bringing this to the attention of the committee or to the IEC?
Chairperson, I have it's currently reflected on the screen as the new paragraph C. It has been included, and we have all the stakeholders that were involved in the drafting of the A list have agreed that it needs to be included. It is properly drafted. It is a consequential amendment, and it is necessary to create parity. However, should the committee require any further clarity as to why this was included, then through you, Chair, may that be directed to the IEC.
Members, this is the matter that was discussed by the stakeholders, and I think this agreed on the matter. Can I get comments from members for endorsement? Members?
Mr. Pile's hand is up.
Honorable Pile?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, no, I just want to say that as presented, I want to move that we approve this and we move on. It's fairly straightforward. Thank you.
Seconder to the mover?
Lokwasa seconds the mover, Chair.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Honorable Khwache. Thanks, Mr. Matunzi, also for assisting me on the platform, on the hands. Considered carried, Ms. Govender. Proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. There's just one other new matter appearing on the A list, and that is on page 5. This is a new clause, which will be clause 26, and this is with regard to the substitution of section 23 of the Political Party Funding Act. Chairperson, this was an issue identified as an omission by the Parliamentary Legal Services, and they have explained the need to include independent representatives in this particular provision. Chairperson, through you, should clarity be required in respect of this inclusion, may it be directed to Parliamentary Legal Services. But that being said, Chairperson, the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor has also considered this provision, and we are of the opinion that it is correctly drafted and it is in fact needed. So, Chairperson, if there is clarity that is required through you, Chair, may that be directed to Parliamentary Legal Services. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Govender. Members, they were dealing with the redrafting of the in other areas that were omitted and inclusion thereof. Members?
Mr. Ross and Honorable Pile.
Honorable Ross and Honorable Pile.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's in order. It's acceptable.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. Supported. Seconded.
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pile. Ms. Govender, carried. Can proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. That is the finalized A list. With your permission, Chairperson, may we proceed to go through the B bill in respect of the changes from the A list that have been carried through in the B bill.
Thank you very much, Ms. Govender. Now we can proceed to the B bill.
Thank you, Chairperson. If Mr. Matonzi could just please flight, thank you. Thank you, Chair. On page 2 of the Bible, clause 1 provides for the substitution of the long title of the Political Party Funding Act. Chairperson, there have been no changes to this clause that have been given in the A list, so there's no change in the Bible. Clause 2 amends the preamble of the Political Party Funding Act. There have been no changes to clause 2 of the Political Party Funding Act. Clause 3 provides for the amendment of section 1 of the Political Party Funding Act, and this clause has undergone some changes in terms of the A list. Those changes, if I could just highlight, the definitions of donation and donation in kind have been included and is now correctly reflected in the Bible, as you will see on your screen. And then the other changes that were made were to give effect to the name of the Multi-Party Democracy Fund, that the name was remaining. So we just made some amendments there. And then the insertion of the definitions of independent candidate and independent representative. And then on page 4, that was just to give effect again to the name of the Political Representatives Fund. With regard to section 2, this was amended by clause 4. And here again, the amendment was just to the name of the Political Representatives Fund, that is in paragraph A, and again in paragraph B, and in paragraph B of clause 4, that was a change as well, just with regard to the name of the fund. Chairperson, clause 5, which is an amendment to section 3 of the Political Party Funding Act. This was amended to the extent that the and representatives was removed to ensure that the name of the fund remains as the Multi-Party Democracy Fund. With regard to clause 6, which substitutes section 4 of the Political Party Funding Act, here again, Chairperson, it was just a removal of reference to an independence to ensure that the name of the fund would remain as is. Clause 7 was a substitution of section 6, and this was merely a editorial amendment that was made with regard to a drafting practice and how it's done. There was no amendments proposed to clause 8 of the bill, which inserted section 6A into the Political Party Funding Act, so that remains. Clause 9, which amended section 7 of the Political Party Funding Act, has been amended to include reference to the intention of the committee, and that is found on page 6 with regard to the on line 4 to include the wording that was instructed by the committee. If we can just go to page 6. Thank you. So just above the number 15 on the right-hand side, you will see that the wording that has been instructed by the committee was in fact put in, except where the right of interest in immovable property. From there on, that has been included and has been correctly reflected in the Bible. And then the other amendment was with regard to paragraph D, and that's with regard to providing for the money received from the fund may not be used for personal use. Moving on, clause 9 was an amendment of the heading of chapter 3. Clause 10 was an amendment of the heading of chapter 3. There was no amendment to clause 10. Clause 11 was an amendment of section 8 of the Political Party Funding Act. There was no amendment proposed to clause 11. If we could just scroll up a little bit, please, Mr. Matongi. Thank you. Clause 12. Clause 12, the committee will recall, was an insertion of section 8A in the Political Party Funding Act. Here, the amendment was just to remove, the amendment involved the removal of the wording independent candidate from the name of the fund, since the name of the fund remained. Clause 13 amended section 9 of the Political Party Funding Act and did not undergo any changes. Clause 14 on page 7 was a clause that was rejected, and we now have a new clause 14, which amends section 10 of the Political Party Funding Act, and this includes independent representatives and independent candidates in respect of prohibition on donations. Clause 16 is a substitution for Section 11 of the Political Party Funding Act that did not undergo any changes. Clause 17 is an amendment of Section 12 of the Political Party Funding Act and did not undergo any changes, so it remains the same. On page 8, towards the bottom of the page, Clause 18. Could you scroll down a little? Thank you, Mr. Matonzi. Clause 18, which is insertion of Section 12A in the Act. Chairperson, the committee will recall that there was an instruction to ensure that Clause 12A(1) paragraph B was properly drafted to reflect the separate accounts. That has been given effect to in line 45. And then, Chairperson, as explained earlier, on page 9, at paragraph C, the new insertion with regard to the statements and books of record, that, as explained earlier, was inserted to ensure that there's parity between independent candidates and unrepresented political parties. Sorry, next page, Eddie. I think it's page 9. Yes. So the one that I just spoke about now was on line 32. So a little higher. So a little, yes. So the paragraph C that's reflected on the screen correctly reflects that what was explained by the IC and what was put into the A list. Moving on to clause 22, which is an amendment of section 16 of the Political Party Funding Act. There has been no change to this clause. The same applies to clause 23, which was an amendment of section 17 of the Political Party Funding Act. There was no change to this clause. Clause 24, which was an amendment to section 19 of the Political Party Funding Act. Chairperson, the amendments that were given effect to there can be seen in line 53, where the fine is included as prescribed. That has been given effect to. And then the new sub 4, which has been included, that's from line 53. And this gives effect to the decision of the committee in that regard. And if we go on to page 12, in line 9, we also have included as prescribed as per the instructions of the committee. Clause 25 is an amendment of section 22 of the Political Party Funding Act, and this clause has not undergone any changes. Clause 26, which is a substitution of section 23 of the Political Party Funding Act. And this was a new clause that was, as we explained earlier, brought explained by the Parliamentary Legal Services as one that needed to be included as it was consequential to the deliberations of the committee. Section 24, which is provided for in clause 27, has been amended and has been reflected in the B-bill to reflect the decision of the committee that the resolution come from the National Assembly. And this is in line 43 to line 44, that you will see that change. On page 13, with regard to clause 28, which substitutes the short title of the Political Party Funding Act. Here again, it was the name of the fund that is remaining, and that change has been effected. And then the other change is an editorial change in that clause. Clause 29 is an amendment of Schedule 2, and this was just changed to include reference to independent representatives, which you will see on, I think it's line 19 under Clause 29. And then the other change to Clause 29, you will see on page 14, on line 18, here again, the resolution coming from the National Assembly that has been given effect to in line 19. And again on line 29, again reference to the National Assembly. Moving on to clause 30, which amends section 1 of the Electoral Act. This clause did not undergo any changes. On page 15, with regard to clause 31, which amends section 24 of the Electoral Act. This, the committee will recall, was the proposal made in respect of, or the decision that was made rather, in respect of the steps that need to take place, or the process that should be followed when a voter is voting out of the voting district. This has been amended to reflect the decision of the committee, and it has been carried through from the A list, and it is properly captured in the B-bill, as appears on your screen. The next clause is clause 32. That was amendment of section 33 of the Electoral Act, which did not undergo any changes. Clause 33, which amends section 1 of the Electoral Commission Act. This was amended to include the definitions as they appear on the screen for independent candidate and independent representative. Clause 34, which amends section 5 of the Electoral Commission Act, did not undergo any changes. Clause 35, which amends section 6 of the Electoral Act, was amended to include reference to independent representatives, and there was an editorial change made there. On the next page, clause 36, which amends section 1 of the Electronic Communications Act. This was amended to include certain definitions as they appear on your screen at the moment. Clause 37 would substitute section 52 of the Electronic Communications Act. This did not undergo any changes. Clause 38 would substitute section 56 of the Electronic Communications Act, did not undergo any changes. Clause 39 would substitute section 57 of the Electronic Communications Act, was changed to include reference to independent representatives and independent candidates, and the changes in the A list have been carried through correctly in the B-bill as it appears on your screen. Clause 40, which is an amendment to section 58 of the Electronic Communications Act. Here again, the changes were made to include reference to independent representatives and independent candidates, and have been correctly captured in the A list and carried through in the B-bill. On page 18, in respect of clause 41, this is with regard to the substitution of section 59 of the Electronic Communications Act. Here again, changes were made to include independent representatives and independent candidates. The changes as reflected on your screen have been correctly reflected as they are in the A list and carried through in the B-bill. Clause 42, which relates to the arrangement of sections in the Electronic Communications Act, has been amended as a consequence of the above changes that have been made, and this is correctly captured in the B-bill as reflected in the A list. On page 19, clause 43, which is an amendment of section 1 of the Financial Management of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act 2009. Chairperson, this was a change with regard to the definition of independent representative, and this was done as it was necessary to include the definition as it is ascribed to in section 1 of the Political Party Funding Act. Clause 44, which was an amendment of section 34 of the Financial Management of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act, did not undergo any changes. Clause 45 is an amendment of section 65, and this was a new clause that was inserted into the A list, and this was to include reference to independent representatives as per the instructions of the committee. Clause 46 is the short title and commencement, and this remains as per the introduced bill and did not undergo any changes. Chairperson, the only other changes that were made were amendments to the long title, and this was to reflect the changes that came about with regard to the changes made to the various clauses. And then with the permission of the committee that we received at the last meeting, we made editorial changes to the memorandum on the objects of the Electoral Taxes Amendment Bill 2023. Chairperson, that was the presentation of the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Govender and your team. Members, this is a reflection of our deliberations and considerations of the amendments we've carried throughout. We'll now invite Ms. Gravender to go clause by clause for adoption or consideration of the clauses for the B bill. Ms. Gravender?
Chairperson, if I could just get direction from the committee. Chairperson, would you like me to read the entire clause into the record?
I think we've sufficiently dealt with the details of the clauses entails in the B bill. I was suggesting, but members will guide me, that we go to first clause and members consider whether to adopt or reject, and we go to the second one because we have sufficiently dealt with the details. Members, can you guide this process? Or let me get from you.
Mr. Pillay, hand is up.
Okay, Pillay.
Chairperson, I want to second your direction and way forward. I think it makes sense because we've just heard the entire bill being read out to us. I think we just go clause by clause and adopt. Thank you.
There's Mr. Ross as well, Chair.
Honorable Ross?
Yes, Chair, I agree that we don't need to read out the entire thing, that we just state the clause and then we can adopt or give any input.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gravender, carried the committee then propose that this is how we must approach the process.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will therefore just be going through the clauses and pausing for the consideration of the honorable members. The first, what is appearing on your screen at the moment is the long title of the bill. Chairperson, as we have stated, the amendments have been correctly captured in the B bill, and what is reflected on your screen is correctly captured in the B bill itself.
Members, this reflects your deliberations and consideration. Can I invite hands to move for the adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable December. Seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khwase. Any objection? It's carried. Ms. Gravender, can you proceed?
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 1 of the bill, which was a substitution of the long title of the Political Party Funding Act.
Members, this reflects the deliberations on the amendment you have carried. Can I invite hands for mover for the adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable December. And seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. An objection? Thank you, it's carried. Ms. Gravender, can you proceed?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 2, which is an amendment of the preamble of the Political Party Funding Act and did not undergo any changes. It is as reflected on the screen.
Members, this reflects a deliberation on the all amendments. Can I invite hands for move for that adoption?
Lekwase moves, Chair, as these are the two reflections of the deliberations.
Thank you, Honorable Khwase. And seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Seconder? An objection? Carried. You can proceed, Ms. Gravender.
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 3 of the bill was an amendment of Section 1 of the Political Party Funding Act. The amendments have been correctly captured in the B bill as are reflected on the screen at the moment.
Members, this reflects deliberation carried and amendments. Can I invite hands for seconder to the motion, to the clause?
Move for adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. And seconder?
Mudisa seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Modise. Objection? Carried. Can you move, Ms. Kevin?
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 4, an amendment of Section 2 of the Political Party Funding Act has been changed, and the changes have been correctly reflected in the Bible as on the screen.
Members, this reflects the deliberations and amendment that were carried. Can I invite hands for mover?
I move for the adoption with the changes carried, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mdia. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay, for second. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to a second clause, Ms. Cavenda?
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 5 has been amended and is reflected correctly on the screen.
Members, this reflection of the deliberation and amendments are carried. Can I invite hands for adoption?
Lokwase moves for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khwase. And seconder?
I second, Chair.
Seconder? Objection? Carried. Can you move, Honorable Ms. Cavenda?
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 6 has been amended and has correctly been amended in the Bible as reflected on screen.
There's another. Can Mr. Matonza assist us? Who's the member that is not muted? Disrupting us. Disrupted.
I think it's Memlekwa.
Thank you. Members, this reflects the deliberation and amendment you've carried. Can I invite hands for mover for the adoption?
I move for the adoption of the amendments, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mdia. Move for the adoption. Seconder?
I would second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay, for second. Any objection? Carried. Can you move the second another clause?
Clause 6 of the bill has been amended and has been correctly reflected as on the screen at the moment.
Members, this reflect the deliberation and amendment you've carried. Can I invite hands to move?
Chair, I move for the adoption with the amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Seconder?
Mudisempia seconds.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mdia. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause, Ms. Cavenda?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 7 of the bill was amended and is reflected on the screen.
Thank you, members. This reflects the deliberation and amendments you've carried. Can I invite hands for mover for the adoption?
I move with the amendment made, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khwase. And seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mdia. An objection? Carried. Can move to another clause.
Clause 8 of the bill has not undergone any changes, Chairperson.
Members, this reflects the deliberation amendments carried. Can I invite hands for mover for the adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. Any seconder?
Lokwase seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khwase. An objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Clause 9 of the bill has been amended and correctly captured as appears on the screen.
Members, this reflects the deliberation amendment you've carried. Can I invite hands for mover for adoption?
Chair, I move for the adoption with the amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Seconder?
I second that, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. An objection? No objection, carried. Can move to another clause.
Clause 10 has not undergone any changes, Chairperson.
Thank you. Members, these are deliberations. Can I invite hands for seconder for the adoption? Sorry, for mover for the adoption.
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Ruos, in seconder.
Lekwasa seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kwase. Seconder, in objection. Carried. Can move to another clause. Ms. Govender.
Clause 11. Thank you, Chair. Clause 11 has not undergone any changes.
Members, this reflect the consideration we've made in a deliberation. Can I invite hands for mover for adoption?
I move, Chair.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mdise. Mover, any seconder?
Chairperson, sorry, my hand was up.
Honorable Ross.
Chair, this is one of those clauses that's related to what was raised in terms of the limits, the prohibited donations. Because as this clause is now, it's going to be referred. So basically, we have a donation, and now there would be no prescribed amount. So you're referring to something in the regulations that is now not going to be tied up. So there's going to be no prohibited donation. If we take out the clause 29H.
The response or the explanation that was carried by the Department of Home Affairs, the legal team of Home Affairs, I thought that it was sufficient and informed our deliberations in terms of the powers that will be exerted in the president to consider the limits in the regulations. And I thought that informed our deliberation. And I thought that perhaps maybe the interpretation of the provisions that is outlined in the amendments. I was suggesting, Honorable Ross, that the submission by the legal team is not sufficient.
Chairperson, you just indicated after that submission that when the clause came, we could raise the issue. So I'm stating that issue. The challenge that we have with this amendment and why we won't be able to accept it, Chairperson. I'm just stating.
Okay. No, sorry. I could not understand you. That you're objecting to the clause given the reasoning that you've put. Members?
Chairperson.
Honorable Ross, sorry, Honorable Pile.
Chair, given
Chair,
the
also my hand
explanation.
is up. Chair, I would advise you that you must also check our hands were up.
I can't see the hands here, and I've stated that Mr. Matonsi should co-assist the process on the hands. And I'm on record on that. I recognize you, Honorable Mdise. Let me recognize Honorable Pile.
Chairperson, I just want to support the Honorable Whip because, we have been using the reactions of the hands, but Eddie has not been recognizing it. Chair, I want to say that the responses that we received are sufficient, and I want to second, since Honorable Modise has already moved for the adoption of this clause. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Modise. Can I come back to you?
Yes, Chair. I think Honorable Pillay has already spoken on the matter that I wanted to speak to. I feel, Chair, that we have already passed the stage for deliberations where we would have labored much on the issues, but equally that Advocate Kumalo earlier would have clarified on the matters of concern. Therefore, Chair, I wanted to say we move for the adoption of the amendment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Disemze, for mover for the adoption, and seconder, Honorable Pillay, and the objection that has been carried by Honorable Ross on the clause. Carried. Can you move, Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 12 has been amended as reflected on the screen.
Members, this is the reflection and consideration of the amendment. Can I invite hands for adoption? Mr. Matonzi, please, can you assist me?
Yes, Mr. Pilay's hand is up.
Pillay,
Chair, I move for the adoption.
move for the adoption. Seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Disemze. Seconder, any objection? Carried. Can you move to the next clause, Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 13 of the bill has not undergone any changes.
Members, this deliberations and consideration carried by the committee. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
Lokwase moves for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Hossein. Seconder?
That's Mr. Pilay's hand.
Honorable Pillay?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Any objection?
Chairperson, please note the objection of the DA.
Objection of the DA. Carried. Ms. Govender, can you proceed?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 14 was amended and is correctly reflected on the screen.
Members, this reflects the deliberation carried by the committee. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
Mr. Ross' hand is up.
Honorable Ross?
Chairperson, I move for the adoption and thank the committee for the changes made.
Move for the adoption. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause, Ms. Govender?
Clause 15 of the bill has not undergone any changes.
Members, this is the consideration by the committee. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption?
Honorable Pillay.
Honorable Pillay?
Chair, I move for the adoption.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Move for the adoption. Any seconder?
Modisempia second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Disemze. An objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause, Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 16 has not been amended.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
There are no hands.
Can I invite hands for move for the
Yes,
adoption?
Honorable
Lokwase moves
Pillay.
for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kwase. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Honorable Pillay.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 17 has not undergone any changes.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for adoption? Mover for adoption?
Modisempia moves for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable. Move for the adoption. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Seconder. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause, Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 18 of the bill has been amended and is correctly reflected in the B bill as on your screen.
Members, this reflects the deliberation, consideration of the amendments. Can I invite hands for adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
Thanks, Chair.
Adopted,
I move for
Chairperson.
adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mulekwa. Any seconder?
Mudisa Mpia seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Disemzas. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause, Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 19 of the bill, Chairperson, has been amended and has been captured correctly as reflected on your screen.
Members, this reflect deliberation, consideration of the amendments. Can I move for that? Can I get some invite members to move for the adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Move for the adoption. Any seconder?
Mudisa Mpia seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Disemza. Any objection? Carried. Can I move to another clause?
Clause 20 of the bill, Chairperson, has been amended and correctly reflected and is as displayed on your screen.
Members, this deliberations carried by the committee. Can I invite move for the adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
Move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mulekwa. Any second?
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. Seconding. An objection? Carried. Can you move as another clause, Ms. Govender?
Clause 21 of the bill, Chairperson, has not undergone any changes.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands to move for the adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mulekwa. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause? Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Clause 22 of the bill has not undergone any changes.
Thank you, members. This consideration of the committee meeting, can I invite hands for move for the adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Any seconder?
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. An objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 23 of the bill has not undergone any changes.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee meeting. Can I invite hands for move for adoption?
I move for adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Disemza. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Clause 24, Chairperson, has undergone amendments and is correctly reflected in the B bill as displayed on your screen.
Thank you, members. This reflection of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption with the amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mulekwa. Any objection? Carried. Can you move for another clause?
Chairperson, Clause 25 of the bill has remained with no changes.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee meeting. Can I invite hands to move for the adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mulekwa. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 26 correctly reflects the insertion of the new clause.
Thank you, members. This reflects the consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption?
Move for the adoption, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Molekwa. Any seconder?
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Disemze for second. Any objection? Carried. Can move another clause.
Chairperson, clause 27 of the bill has been amended and is correctly reflected in the bill as displayed on your screen.
Thank you, members. This is a reflection of the committee meeting and amendments. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption with the amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Move for the adoption with amendments. In seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Molekwa. Seconded. An objection? Carried. Can move for another clause. Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Clause 28 of the bill has been amended and is correctly reflected as displayed on your screen.
Thank you, members. This deliberation and by the committee. Can I invite hands for adoption? To move for adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chairperson. The minister.
Thank you, Honorable Molekwa. And seconder?
Lekwase seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Lokwase. Any objection? Carried. Can move to another clause.
Thank you, Chair. Clause 29 of the bill has been amended and is correctly reflected and displayed on the screen.
Thank you. Members, this is a reflection of deliberation and consideration by the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
Move for the adoption, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Molekwa. Any seconder? Mr. Matonzi, is there any hand?
No, there are no hands.
I second the mover, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kwase. Any objection?
Honorable Ross' hand is up.
Honorable Ross?
Chairperson, the DA objects to clause 29 in specific to item B, G, and H on the formula and the regulations for allocating funds to parties and independent representatives, on the disclosure limits and the upper limits being removed. These are the formula in particular is a substantive amendment, and we should have an impact assessment of the Political Party Funding Act that would advise changes in a future general electoral amendment bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. Objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 30 of the bill has not undergone any changes.
Members, this is a consideration of the meeting of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption? Mr. Matonzi?
There are
I
no
move for
hands.
the adoption, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Molekwa. Move for the
Second,
adoption.
Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Dise for second. An objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 31 of the bill has been amended and has correctly been captured as reflected on your screen.
Thank you, members. This reflects the committee meeting and amendments. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption? Mr.
I move
Matonzi?
for the adoption, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Molekwa. Any seconder?
Lekwase seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kwase. Any objection? Can you move? Carried. Can you move
Thank
to another?
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 32 has not undergone any amendments.
Thank you very much, members. This is the consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for the adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Thank you. Move for the adoption. Honorable Disemza, any objection?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. An objection? Carried. Can you move another clause?
Clause 33 of the bill has been amended and correctly captured and reflected on your screen.
Members, this is a reflection and consideration by the committee. Can I invite hands to move for adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption with the amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Move for the adoption and amendments. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Malekwa. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause, Ms. Govender?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 34 of the bill has not undergone any changes.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee meeting. Can I invite hands for move for adoption?
I move for adoption, Chair.
Move for the adoption. Seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Malekwa. Seconded. Any objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause?
Clause 35, Chairperson, has been amended, and that is correctly reflected as on your screen.
Members, this is a reflection of the deliberation and amendment carried but considered by the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption? Mr. Matonsi?
I move for the adoption, Chairperson.
Move for the adoption. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Pillay. In objection? Carried. Ms. Governor, can you proceed?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 36 of the bill has been amended, and these have been correctly captured and will be reflected on your screen if you just move. Yes, correctly captured, Chairperson.
Thank you, members. This is a reflection of the deliberation of the committee. Can I invite hands to move for adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption with the amendments.
Move for adoption of the amendments. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Malekwa. Seconded. Any objection? Yeah, seconded. Thank you. Carried. Can you move for another clause?
Clause 37 of the bill has not undergone any changes.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Move for adoption. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Malekwa. Seconded. Any objection? Carried. Can you move for another clause?
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 38 of the bill has not undergone any amendments.
Members, this is a consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption?
Chair, move for adoption.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Move for the adoption. Seconder?
Saint-Pierre, second, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Disem, seconded. Any objection? Carried. Can you move for another clause?
Clause 39 of the bill, Chairperson, has been amended, and these amendments have been correctly captured and displayed on your screen.
Thank you, members. This is a reflection and consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption.
Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Move for adoption and seconder.
I second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Disemza. Any objection? Carried. Can move for another clause.
Chairperson, clause 40 of the bill has been amended and correctly captured and displayed on the screen.
Thank you very much, members. This is the consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption.
Thank you. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you. An objection? Carried. Can I move for another clause?
Thank you, Chair. Clause 41 of the bill has been amended and correctly captured as reflected on your screen.
Thank you. Members, this is a reflection of the consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for move for adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chairperson.
Thank you. Move for adoption, Honorable Mulegwa. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. Secondly, any objection? Carried. Can move to another clause.
Chairperson, clause 42 of the bill has been amended and correctly reflected as displayed on your screen.
Thank you. Members, this is a consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands for seconder? Move for adoption.
Chair, move for the adoption with the amendments carried.
Thanks, Honorable Pillay. With the amendment carried, any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mulegwa. Any objection? Carried. Can move another clause.
Thank you, Chair. Clause 43 of the bill has been amended and is correctly reflected and displayed on your screen.
Members, this is a reflection of the committee. Can I invite hands of the mover for adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mulegwa. The seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay for seconder. Objection? Carried. Can you move to another clause, Ms. Cavender?
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 44 of the bill has not undergone any amendments.
Thank you, members. This is a reflection of the committee. Can I invite hands for mover for adoption?
I move for the adoption, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mulegwa. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you. Any objection? Carried. Can move another clause.
Chairperson, clause 45 of the bill has been amended. If Eddie could just scroll up, and has been correctly captured and reflected on your screen.
Members, this reflects the consideration of the committee. Can I invite hands to move for adoption?
Chair, move for the adoption with the amendments carried.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. With the amendment carried. Any seconder?
Seconded, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mulegwa. In objection? Carried. Can move to another clause.
Chairperson, the last clause is clause 46 of the bill, which has not undergone any changes.
Thank you. Members, this is a consideration of the committee. Can I invite mover for adoption?
I move
I
the
move for
adoption.
the adoption, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you. Disemzo, any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Player for second and objection. Carried. Thank you very much, members. Thank you very much, Ms. Govender. We'll now adopt the entire bill. I will invite hands for move for the adoption of the entire bill and seconder and objection. Then we move to adopt the report of the matters we're dealing with. Can I invite hands to move for adoption of the entire bill?
Chairperson, I'm not sure. Okay. There's Honorable Pile and Honorable Ross. Yes.
You wanted to say something before that, Mr. Matonzi?
Yeah, no. I wasn't sure if Mr. Ross was raising his hand. No, it's fine, Chair.
Yes.
Those two now for now.
Oh, okay. Is Mr. Honorable Ross and Miss Honorable Pile?
Yes.
Okay, Honorable Ross.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I just want to raise an important point before we do this, and that is that we have received a written determination from Parliamentary Legal Services that Clause 29 is a substantive amendment. And I know that it has been debated, but the fact is they have given that to us. And I think it's something that we as a committee need to seriously consider.
Honorable Ross.
That there are substantive changes and it should go out for public consultation.
Honorable Ross.
Substantive changes, Chair. So we need to get confirmation from Parliamentary Legal Services.
Honorable Ross.
Are substantive changes in this bill.
Honorable Ross. We've interacted on the deliberations on the matter, on any other issues which were responded to by Independent Electoral Commission, Home Affairs, and the Department of Communication as a result of the oral or public hearing we've conducted, including the Parliamentary Legal Services on the issues they've raised with the committee. And the committee has considered and deliberated on the issues that they've raised to the attention of the committee. And the committee resolved on the other view that is not carried by the legal services, and the other views which were carried by the Parliamentary Legal Services. By the Portfolio Committee. And the matter we're raising, we have deliberated on it, and a decision has been carried. We have deposited our views to the A list. We have deliberated. We've also deposited our views on the B bill, and they've been carried. At this stage, we're calling for adoption of the entire bill. The views that we're expressing are noted in the minutes, even you can go to the recordings. And this is a spirit of engagement by members of the committee. I'm trying to demobilize you that the views that we've expressed were carried in the deliberation, which at that time members expressed different views. So we're now moving to adopt or to reject the B bill. And this stage, I'm inviting members. I'm inviting members to consider the adoption of the entire B bill. And if there's any objection, invite that objection. Honorable Disemzo?
I move for adoption of the entire B bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any seconder?
Chairperson, I second.
Thank you, Honorable Pile. Any objection?
Chairperson, please note the objection of the DA.
Thank you. Noted considered the B bill. Ms. Govender?
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you very much for the presentation of the B bill. The committee has now considered the B bill. Will now request the content advisor to read in the minutes the report for consideration adoption by the committee. Mr. Matonsi or Mr. Salmon?
Thank you, Chairperson. It's Adam. So the draft report of the Committee on Home Affairs on the Electoral Matters Amendment Bill 42 of 2023, dated 1 March 2024. The Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs, having considered the Electoral Matters Amendment Bill, referred to it and classified by the joint tagging mechanism as the Section 75 Bill, reports the bill with amendments as follows. Background on the referral of the bill: on 7 December 23, the Minister of Home Affairs introduced the Electoral Matters Amendment Bill, and the Speaker of the National Assembly referred it to the committee through the announcement, tabling, and committees. Number 175 of 2023. The bill was tagged as Section 75 and published in the Government Gazette number 49836 of 7 December 2023. The objects of the bill. The objects of the bill are to provide for the regulations of the private and public funding of independent candidates and independent representatives and matters incidental thereto, to amend the title, long title, and preamble, to insert and substitute definitions, to amend the names of the funds, to preclude the Electoral Commission from accepting donations to the multi-party funds and independent democracy funds, which it has reason to believe are the proceeds of crime, to empower the Commission to invest money in the funds in any bank registered in terms of the Banks Act, to prescribe the attachment of money in the funds by certain persons, to provide for the right of political parties, independent candidates, and independent representatives to refuse donations, to repeal Section 10, to amend provisions relating to the accounting obligations of represented and unrepresented political parties, provide for independent representatives and independent candidates to account for income, provide for the offense of making a donation to a political party, a member of a political party, an independent candidate, or an independent representative in the expectation that the party member, candidates, or representatives will influence the award of benefits or relaxation of conditions. Provide for the offense of making a donation to a member of a political party to circumvent the provisions of Chapter 3. Provide for offenses by a member of a political party of accepting a donation to circumvent the provisions of Chapter 3 or appropriating the donation for themselves. To amend the powers of the President to make the regulations on certain matters. To amend Schedule 2 in respect of the formula for the allocation of money in the funds on the proportional and equitable basis in respect of upper limits of donations and the disclosure limit for donations, and to amend the Electoral Act, the Electoral Commission Act, the Electronic Communications Act, the Financial Management of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act, so as to make consequential amendments resulting from the introduction of independent candidates to contest elections in the National Assembly and provincial legislatures. 3, parliamentary process. The Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs and the Select Committee on Security and Justice agreed to a joint briefing by the Minister of Home Affairs on the contents of the bill. The joint briefing took place on 12 December 2023. The committees also jointly advertised for public comment. The call for comments commenced on 14 December 2023 and on the Parliament website and social media. This was followed by advertisements in the public media and print media and radio on 11 January 2024. The closing date for public comments was 26 January. The committee received 13 submissions, and 10 of these submissions were substantive, and the other 3 were a few sentences that were in support of the bill. On 6 January 2024, the committees conducted a virtual public hearing, and the content advisor briefed the committees on the summary of the submissions, followed by public hearings. The following organizations and individuals submitted written and oral inputs to the committee: the Inclusive Society Institute, My Vote Counts, Dr. Albertus Skuman, People's Legal Center, and Unite Behind, Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, Mr. Michael Atkins, Congress of South African Trade Union, Zaki 2024 NPC, African National Congress ANC, the Ms. Nadia Madlala, Ms. Musuli Kaba, Professor Dirk Kotzer, and from UNISA, and Mr. Raphael Mokiti. The committee invited the Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies, the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management of Parliament, the Standing Committee on Finance, and the Select Committee on Finance to attend the public hearings. the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, Parliament, the Department of Home Affairs, the Independent Electoral Commission, and the Parliament Legal Services attended the public hearings and responded to the submissions and the public hearings on 9 February 2024. After the inputs from all the stakeholders, the inputs from the submissions and the public hearings were considered. National Rule 2864I requires that the committee, after due deliberation, must consider a motion of desirability on the subject matter of the bill, and if rejected, must immediately table the bill and its report. On 14 February 2024, the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs agreed that the Electoral Matters Amendment Bill was desirable. This was followed by deliberations on the bill. On 19 and 20 February, the committee deliberated on the bill and requested the State Law Advisor to start with the drafting of an A version of the bill. And on 22 February 2024, the State Law Advisor briefed the committee on the A version of the bill and approved it. This was followed by clause-by-clause deliberations to ensure that all the changes had been incorporated on 1 March 2024. After the clause-by-clause deliberations on 1 March 2024, the committee considered and adopted both A list and B versions of the bill as a true reflection of the committee's deliberations. The following political parties expressed their views: the African National Congress supported the bill, the Democratic Alliance, African Christian Democratic Party, Freedom Front Plus, and Inkatha Freedom Party objected to the bill primarily due to concerns about the impact on smaller parties of the change in funding formula and pending regulations to disclosure threshold and upper donation limits. Recommendation: the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs recommends that the House adopts the report on the bill and approve the second reading of the Electoral Matters Amendment Bill 42 of 2023. Report to be considered. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Salmon. Members, this reflects the process we've engaged on to this end. Can I invite members for consideration of the report?
Chairperson, the Honorable Place hand is up.
Honorable Pillay?
Thank you, Chair. I want to move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you, Honorable Pillay. And seconder?
Honorable Disempia seconds, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Disempia. Any objection?
Chairperson, please note the objection of the DA. I think some critical information is not included in this report.
Thank you, Honorable Ross, for the objection. Members, we have now considered the report and the B bill, which was presented by the Chief State Law Advisor. And want to thank all the honorable members for contributed to this process. Both those that have agreed to the amendments and objection carried. At this stage, I want to invite IEC if this parting shot and the Home Affairs.
Chairperson and members, honorable members, thank you very much. There is nothing from the Electoral Commission other than to thank you. That's us, Chairperson.
Thank you, IEC. Home Affairs.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Home Affairs has got nothing more to add also than just to thank the committee for working tirelessly on this piece of legislation. Thank you.
Chief State Law Advisor.
Thank you, Chairperson. Nothing from our side.
Parliamentary Legal Services.
Thank you, Chairperson. Nothing from our side.
Thanks, members, for your contributions. Parliamentary Legal Service, Telana, for your hard work with your collective. The Chief State Law Advisor, for the hard work with your collective. The IEC and your legal team and the executive, for the hard work demonstrated to the committee. And you know that you are going to be engaged in the very complex and tough elections. The committee as always, have demonstrated support to the work and have appreciated to the interaction you've always had with the Portfolio Committee. Advocate Kumalo and your team extend our appreciation to the Minister and the Deputy Minister and the DG for having worked closely with us in this process. Parliamentary Legal Service, as we have indicated, Mr. Matonsi and Mr. Adams for having assisted noting of the notes and advisory in terms of the work that members of the committee have to engage on. Thanks, members. We've considered all the issues, the reports. Mr. Matonsi, is there any other matter?
No, Chairperson, there's no other matter.
Thank you, members, for consideration and all the reports being adopted. The meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you, Chairperson. Bye-bye, members.
Thank you, Chairperson.